Welcome. I am your presenter, Doug Bilderback. I'm one of the consultants here at Equation. The next step is to create a fiscal calendar um, for the next year. And some of you may already have this put into place. I'm just going to come here to Common Services, Fiscal Calendar, and I can see that I already have 2026 created. Just for the sake of demonstration here, I'm going to delete this, and then I'll show you how to create a new year. So I'm just going to come back here. So let's say I was just normal year on my 2025. I'm going to hit the plus sign here for a new year. It creates 2026. I can come in here and look. Let me just slide this over. Hopefully everybody can see this. We've got all of our months defaulted in here. If you're on regular standard calendar months, you've got it really simple. It should all just default in. Those of you who maybe work on a 554 or excuse me, a 445 or 544 calendar where you start, say, every week on a Sunday or a Monday, you might have to come in and update your calendar dates for the starting and ending dates of your fiscal period. But for most people, just hitting the new button, and then when you're ready, hit the add button here. That creates the calendar. I'm also going to take a peek here of my 2025, and I'm really looking here to make sure my closing period is going to be unlocked. So in our next step, we're going to be revving the fiscal year, and that's going to be posting all the information that currently exists on your income statement accounts to retained earnings. So it's going to be utilizing that closing period. Now, let me just make sure I state this very clearly here at the onset. This does not mean you cannot continue to work in 2025 or the year that you're closing out. So you can leave that open. You don't have to have all your year-end stuff all perfectly done. In fact, we assume that all that stuff is yet to happen. What Sage does is once we run the create new year process, is that it puts in a supplemental closing entry for anything posted to what is now going to be the prior year. So in our scenario here, 2025. So typically, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day comes around. All right, we want to allow posting into the next fiscal year. I'm going to run this procedure, and then we can just go ahead and close everything up normally. This allows all the posting to happen appropriately, and then we can, just like any other month-end close, we can lock the periods that we need to lock. Now, if you happen to know that, hey, everything through the, say, November is done and I can close those out, certainly can make sure that you catch up on all your closing periods and do that. Okay, so we have updated our fiscal calendar. Our next step is to verify that everyone is logged out of Sage. So just, all right, way to check that is everybody out of Sages. I can come here to my help, current users, and I see that I am the only person who is in Sage. All right. There is a caveat to that, and I'll show an example of that here in a few minutes because I do need to log into a different company. And that caveat is if you are using the notes or the document management link from Orchid, which is a very common note or document management product, there is a little thing that's down in the task tray, and I'll show you what that is. I'll log into another company in a minute, and we just have to make sure that that is closed before we do the next step, because that little functionality kind of holds things on, and Sage sees that as a separate user that's logged in. But we've got everybody else out of the system, so I can come here to General Ledger, go to Periodic Processing, and run Create New Year. Click on that, and it tells me a couple things. Hey, we're going to create account records for year 2026, which is our next year. Remove all fiscal sets older than your fiscal year 22. All right, I want to leave all my older data in the system. So I'm going to come here. Now, a lot of people already have this set, but I don't here in the sample company. So I'm going to come to my options, and it's under the posting year. I want to leave 99 years. Most people already have it set to 99 years. This sample company doesn't come that way, so I'm changing it. Now, when I come back to my create new year, notice that it's now saying we're going to keep everything after 1927. That sounds a lot better to me. So we're going to create records for 26. We're going to purge anything that's older than 1927, which probably for everybody is going to be nothing. We're going to change the year. We've already done our fiscal calendar, and it's going to post things there. And I've already taken care of my warning message right up here, back up my data. So I've already done my data backup. I think I've cleared everything on that list. I'm going to hit the process button. It's going to go through. Again, this is going to go really quick. There we are. We're done. You know, people with lots of GL accounts, and really actually does not make a difference how many transactions. It's really the number of GL accounts that you have will take a little bit longer. So we're good. 26 has been created, and I can close. And that in and of itself is the minimum things you need to do to create a new fiscal year and your year-end procedures. So that's actually very short. Let's talk about a few other best practices here. What does that new year process actually do? So it's going to create entries for fiscal period total. So it's actually going in and creating some tables or some records in some of the master tables of Sage and saying the beginning balance for this GL account is a particular value, right? So it's rolling the ending balance from the prior year into the beginning balance for the new year, and it's creating a closing journal entry for all the income statement accounts in period 15, which is our closing period, and moving them to retained earnings. And then it's updating the current year value for posting. So if I come into Sage, I can see evidence of that. If I come here to the GL setup and my options, and I come to the posting, I can see now my current year is 2026, and the oldest year that I have data is 2021. Thank you very much for attending. Bye for now.